So we're a few streams deep now into the Kingdom Come Deliverance playthrough in January of 2025, prepping for the launch of KDC 2, the sequel, which is dropping in February. And I think I've figured out what it is about modern audiences and why they hate this game. I've seen some really atrocious comments on the videos and streams over the past few days from people who genuinely seem to hate this game. And I think the thing that keeps coming up from everyone is they say that this game is too hard. It's too difficult. They don't know how to do the combat. The combat's janky. The game requires you to do too much. There's no hand holding. And it's funny because most of the same people that I see commenting on this are the same type of people who talk about how much they love like Elden Ring or like Path of Exile 2, despite its jank in early access. So I've been kind of looking at other people's videos and combing through comments, and I think I've sorted out what it is exactly that the modern audiences hate. It has nothing to do with the difficulty of the game. Has nothing to do with any of that. It has everything to do with the fact that you, as a player, don't really matter. Like, it's to a degree. Henry is what matters. And what do I mean by that? I kind of alluded to this in yesterday's video with the number one tip for new players, but essentially what it comes down to is that your skill as a player, meaning your reaction times, whether or not you can press buttons in a specific pattern with a specific rhythm, none of that actually matters until, because it does matter to some degree, but it doesn't matter until you are actually deeper into the game. I would say, kind of depending on what you're doing. I don't want to say the first 15 hours of the game because that's not necessarily true. It just depends on what you're doing and what you're playing, what quest you're pursuing. But really what it comes down to is your player's skill doesn't matter until Henry's skill as an individual gets high enough to sort of match your skill. Nowhere is that more evident than here at the training course, which is nighttime. We're able to get this. We'll have to rest a little bit, which is fine because we can go ahead and rest until the morning. And while we're doing so, let's go this way. We can talk a little bit. So there are skills in the game. The skill with the axe, the skill with the bow, the skill with the sword, the skill with the sword and shield, the skill with the mace. There's your skill in warfare and defense and so on and so forth. We're going to open up that menu here in just a second as we get to the end here. And you have to level up Henry's skills to get to the point where you're actually good with those skills before you as a player can start actually mattering. My grammar is horrible today, but that's fine. It's a good starting point. So what do I mean by that? Well, if you go in here to the skills for Henry, you'll notice we have a main level, which right now is level 7. It's not so high. Go to the combat skills, and we start to see that my defense is level 5, my warfare is level 5, the axe is 0. The bow is 3, the mace is 0, the sword is 6, and my unarmed is 4. So if I go out and I attempt to fight against bandits or any sort of foes in the wild, if I try to face them with a mace, with a skill level 0, despite the fact that my main level is 7, I'm not going to be able to do jack shit against those mobs, even though my main level is 7. The reason for that is because I have no skill in mace. We're at 0 right here. So in order for me to get good with the mace, I would need to train with the mace first. And just going to a trainer and training isn't necessarily going to be enough. I'm actually going to need to physically train at a trainer with the mace or the axe if I want to get good. So in this case, I've put most of my time into the sword because I care nothing for the mace or the axe. So the earliest stages of the game are going to have you talking to Captain Bernard here and going into the training section and choosing how to train your character. you actually have to go in here and practice. And there's different things that you can practice and different ways that you could practice. You can train with a practice weapon, which is less effective, but it doesn't damage you. But you can also train with real weapons if you think you're good enough, in which case Bernard will actually beat the shit out of you. There's learning combos, there's learning defense, learning axe, and learning sword. I always like to go in here with practice weapon as an example. And because I don't care about the mace and the axe, I always go in here and train with the short sword or the long sword. So let's just say I want to choose the short sword as an example.
With a short sword, like a proper knight.
Like a proper knight. Take a shield? Why not? Let's take a shield.
I'll take a shield, too.
Right, lad. Grab your piece. We'll get stuck in.
Now from here, you actually have to go into the training ring, and you actually have to fight. In this case. And do this. And I'm not very good, but at some point, you get better, and you get skills. There we go. I got a perfect strike off. Yeah, there we go.
Fuck!
And he's riposting, so on and so forth. Now, a lot of players don't realize that you actually need to train, and as a result, they've gone out there. So that right there, that master strike, you don't even get to have that. And I missed the timing on all of those. You don't even get that until level 1. Now, see how I just got a new level in Warfare? The only way you get skills is by actually coming into the arena here with Bernard. I can't talk and do this at the same time because this combat is actually quite challenging. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. We're going to feint. And he's going to master strike me back. So on and so forth. And then when you're done, you can surrender.
Enough! Please!
And if you've gained some skill ups, you can then go into your skills and you can go in here and say, okay, you know, I just gained a point in Warfare. Cool. What can I do with Warfare? Well, as you level up in Warfare, as an example, every few levels at level 4, 8, 12, 16, and 20, you can spend a point in a perk. So in this case, I've chosen Bailman, which allows me to unhorse opponents. I have Feint, which allows me to do feints in combat. And I have Bloodletter, which gives me a greater chance of drawing my opponent's blood. But in order to learn these things, I must first train with Bernard, or you have to go out and fight bandits. The downside to trying to actually fight bandits is because they're generally going to have a higher level in defense than you are in whatever chosen weapon you have, which means the chances of you actually being able to land any attacks against any of those enemies is going to be slim to none, which is why you really do need to come spend time training with Captain Bernard here and getting better at your chosen weapon. Now, you could choose to do all of the weapons if you want to, but you really, for my money's worth, I think it's worthwhile to take the time to focus on a singular weapon type, whether it's the sword, which allows you to do short sword, sabers, long sword. I can't remember what the other sword is. Whereas maces and axes are a different thing. In Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, there's going to be more weapons, which is going to be awesome. But for the purposes of KDCD 1, this is where it comes back to the frustration that a lot of modern audiences have, is they think that their character level should allow them to overpower any enemies they are coming up against. And the reality is, it has nothing to do with your character level or your player's skill. It has to do with the fact that Henry knows nothing, needs to get good at things to be able to overcome the enemies in the game. And until Henry gets good, it doesn't matter, as you saw in that combat scenario, it doesn't matter how good I am at button mashing. Bernard is way better than me. So for me to be able to beat him at something, I need to actually get good at the chosen weapons that I'm using and then level those up to an appropriate level by going into training with him. Otherwise, he just beats the crap out of you, and you get skill points, which is very, very useful, and that's how you level up your individual skills like defense and warfare and everything else. But until Henry's skills level up to match your skills as a player, it doesn't matter how quickly you push the buttons, how good your reaction times are, how good you were at Elden Ring or Path of Exile 2 or any of these other games that rely on reactions and the performance of you as an individual. This is all about Henry getting good. And once Henry gets good, that's when your skill as a player comes in. So hopefully that clears it up for some people. It's been a really interesting thing to see all these comments, but we're having a great time playing through Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 as we prep for the second game coming out in February. So hopefully we'll see you in the next stream daily around 6 a.m. Central Time on YouTube and Twitch. I play a lot of games. There's over 7,000 videos on the channel, so hopefully we'll see you in one of the next ones. This is the day job. Love to play video games. Hopefully we'll see you in the next one. Cheers, guys.